What is going on YouTube? This is Kid Gemini with another movie review this weekend, and I am going to be reviewing Skyscraper. It is an action thriller that is directed by Ross and Marshall Thurber and stars Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and Nev Campbell, and also stars Pablo Schreiber in a really small role. The story of Skyscraper follows Dwayne Johnson's character Will Sawyer, who used to be an FBI agent and rescuing hostages. That is until a little hostage situation gone bad cost him his leg and a few of his teammates, and now he works as a security assessor in one of the biggest, tallest buildings in China, a skyscraper. That is until a group of baddies who plan on wreaking havoc and great destruction in the skyscraper frame Will for the mastermind terrorists' plans, and he has to find a way to get his family out alive and stop the people responsible for causing great destruction and framing him. I didn't see any previews for this movie as I wanted to go in without anything being spoiled to me, and so I was really surprised by what this film had to deliver. The change of location, the size of the skyscraper, the action sequences, Dwayne Johnson's performance, and a few throwback references from the 80s movie Die Hard, which was released in 1988, that had the same premise as Skyscraper, but is the one that actually started all with terrorists taking over a 40-story building and Bruce Willis playing a rogue cop who's trying to stop them from killing his wife and a few other hostages in the building. Dwayne Johnson's performance in this movie was really good. He was able to get away from the typecast WWE style performances in which he gives a little cocky badass demeanor about his character, but in this movie he's this man who, after a hostage operation gone wrong that causes him to get traumatized by the incident and also cost him his leg, now a bit of an amputee, he has to face his own fears again and go up against the terrorists that are hijacking the building and keeping his family hostage. And in doing so, he really grows as a character from being this traumatized former agent and security assessor to just slowly developing into this man that has to do what's right and clear his name and rescue his family, and also possibly face a similar incident that takes place near the end, and just from there becomes this little hero to his family and to the people in China. And that's what I really like about movie stars like Dwayne Johnson and Bruce Willis. They're able to get away from typecast performances in which they play this little action hero, which is good, but can expand more emotionally. Let's say, for instance, Bruce Willis in Die Hard, he plays this little cocky, wise-cracking hero. But in movies like The Sixth Sense, he plays the psychologist who is troubled by a former patient who committed suicide because he saw ghosts and now is trying to help this little boy face his own fears. And Unbreakable, in which he gets into a train accident and then starts developing these superpowers. So from there, what really works is that they're able to play characters outside of that typical typecast character of being the action hero. Dwayne Johnson's also done it. He's done it in San Andreas, in which he's a rescuer and a pilot trying to find his daughter in California after an earthquake takes place, but is troubled by the loss of his other daughter at a very young age. And in Snitch, in which he plays this middle-class businessman who's trying to bail his son out of jail after getting involved in a drug bust that he had no business getting involved in, and just tries to break him out and avoid the cartel. So Dwayne Johnson does really good with this movie, and I really look forward to seeing him expand more emotionally as an actor. He's also done it in Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle. I have not seen that movie yet, but I'm yet to see him do more roles like his character Will Sawyer in Skyscraper. Another thing that I liked about the movie is that the action sequences were really well filmed. One particular sequence that really made my heart sink is when Dwayne Johnson's character just climbs up the little crane and tries to get to the building. It was a really heart-dropping moment in which he has to not only make his way through the crane and just swing at the building, but he also just makes a leap forward and almost dies is doing so, and he makes it. And that was just a really heart-wrenching moment. You really feel what his character is going through, and it's such a high-stakes situation. And I will add that Skyscraper also did a great job adding a bit of high stakes to not only Will Sawyer, but also the situation involved in which he's trying to rescue his family from getting killed by the terrorists, and also trying to recover what they want in order to keep his family alive. So even the fight sequences were good. There were moments where it kind of felt a bit shaky, like in the Bourne movies where you have Matt Damon fighting some of the bad guys and the camera just shakes all the time. It had a bit of that, but it wasn't as bad. And it keeps the focus on every hit, every punch, so you know what's going on, as opposed to just shaking the camera all the time and just adding intensity to a particular fight scene. So the action sequences were really well filmed, as well as the fight sequences. So hats off to Ross and Marshall Thurber for doing that well, as he did in his last movie, Central Intelligence, who he also collaborated with The Rock on. Some of the other small things that I liked about in the movie Skyscraper was the skyscraper was designed well. The visuals were great. Every little detail, the lights, the building, the structure was just amazing. And I would be surprised if this became a contender on the shortlist for the 2019 Oscar for Best Visual Effects. I mean, might not happen, but who knows? Neve Campbell also does great with her performance as Dwayne Johnson's wife in the movie. She's a surgeon whom he meets 10 years before the skyscraper incident, in which she helps him get through the traumatic hostage situation aftermath, and is also trying to get her kids out of the building, and just develops a bit of a action hero archetype in which she tries to fend off some of the villains while trying to help out Dwayne Johnson's character. And Pablo Schreiber also did good with this movie, even though he did have a small role, which really surprised me because I thought he was gonna be the main villain in this movie. But when, spoiler alert, found out that he was not, and he was only in the movie for a good few minutes fighting Dwayne Johnson, it really surprised me, as I thought, what? So that's it? Okay, that's not bad, I guess. Let's see what the other villains have in store. So the performances from some of the other cast members like Neve Campbell and Pablo Schreiber were really good. Ross and Marshall Thurber also does a great job with directing the movie. He's come a really long way from Dodgeball and We're the Millers, two comedy movies that I really enjoyed, to Central Intelligence, which has a bit of comedy and action, to Skyscraper, which is more of an action than there is comedy. He doesn't make the movie take itself so seriously. He does add a few comical elements there and then, and he is going to be collaborating with Dwayne Johnson again for the third time in Red Notice. So he really does great with the direction of the action sequences and the story. He doesn't leave anything unanswered, such as the villains' motives as to why they're doing what they're doing and what Dwayne Johnson is progressing through as he goes from security assessor to a fully well-established action hero. So Ross and Marshall Thurber does great, and it'd be great to see him do other action movies as well and see what there is in store for him. One of the problems that I had with this movie is that the villain motives are they're just not that good. I mean, yes, they're taking over the skyscraper and causing great destruction and want to take money from the owner of the skyscraper, but I feel like there could have been a much better motivation besides that. We've seen that idea done so many times before. If it were something like terrorists taking over the building, trying to kill the owner of the skyscraper and use the skyscraper as a means to build it as their own little military mercenary base to start a bit of a civil war, then I think that would have made a pretty good idea for the movie. But the motive is okay. Villains' motives could have been a little bit different. Instead of using the same, we want to take over the building because we want to cause great destruction, cliche. So yeah. Another small issue that I had with this movie was Dwayne Johnson's character. While his character has a great transition, I feel like the traumatized part of his character could have been added a little more, such as, for instance, if he's climbing up the crane to get to the other side of the building, show a bit more fear and a bit of reluctance because of what he's been through during the mission 10 years ago, and also just add more trauma and terror to the character. The movie did a good job establishing that, but if they added a little bit more, I think we could have had more heart-wrenching moments with the character from there. Overall, Skyscraper is a really entertaining action thriller with great performances by Dwayne Johnson, Neve Campbell, and a small role by Pablo Schreiber, and also does good with the action sequences as well as Ross and Marshall Thurber's direction and throwback references to the 1988 movie Die Hard, though it suffers a bit from the villain's same cliched motives, and Dwayne Johnson's character could have been a little bit more fleshed out tension-wise and more, how do I put it? Could have been a little bit more terrifying for the character, as such as Bruce Willis's character in Die Hard, when he just becomes vulnerable and takes every injury and just keeps on pressing forward no matter what, and you just feel like you don't know if he's going to make it to the end. So with that, I'm going to give Skyscraper a B+. Guys, thank you for watching my review for Skyscraper. Next week, I will be reviewing 2 sequels. One of them is a horror movie, and the other is a sequel to an action movie. So post the comments down below. Tell me what you think of the Skyscraper movie. Hit the like button if you enjoyed the review. And as always, subscribe for more content. This is Kid Gemini signing off. To 1,000 subscribers, have a great summer. Woo!